So, Geltzy, as far as the Warriors are concerned, what was your reaction to the postgame comments from Steve Kerr? He said that Steph Curry could be a little smarter and maybe should have made better decisions out on the court.
He's right. I mean, Curry, again, I've been hearing from Warrior fans on Twitter, Michael, about how hurt Curry was in last year's finals. He looked like the same player yesterday that he was in last year's finals. He's, first of all, bad decisions, over gambling on defense. The Cavs are going to exploit Curry on defense. He's a weak defensive player. They know how to go at him and get at him. Kerr's not going to take him off the floor because he's so gifted offensively, but he has to be better offensively so he's not a net negative like he was yesterday. He doesn't help the helper on defense. So his man beats him. He's out of the play. And then you look at, and granted, the turnovers weren't terrible yesterday, but he was 2 of 7 from 3. The Cavs tend to defend him very well. And he just, I think there was times he over-deferred, times he didn't defer enough. But to me, it's the gambling on defense, because too many times they ended up in 5-on-4 situations because Curry's taking himself out of plays. And the 4 steals that he got is not a justification for that, although Curry acts like it is because he feels like if he's getting steals, he's playing good defense. It doesn't quite work that way, and it's not going to work that way against the Cavaliers. And I found it interesting that Steve Kerr decided to call him out a little bit publicly, because I do think that there's something in that message about how Curry has played last year in the finals against the Cavs and what he did here. Curry at this stage struggles against the Cavaliers. They guard him well, and they really, really exploit him well on the defensive end of the floor. And I think he's impossible for Kerr to hide because he needs him on the floor, and the Cavs know how to find him. He's got to get better production and smarter play on the other end. And I think for Curry here, out of Thompson, Curry, and Green, Curry has had the hardest time adjusting to the presence of Kevin Durant, who's clearly the best player on that team, as we saw yesterday, by a large margin. And I think for Curry here, he's got to get a little bit more comfortable with going back to who he was last year in the regular season. And we haven't seen that in a while now, guys.
Yeah, what'd you think, by the way, of the officiating at the end of that game, Geltzy, where, one, they stopped play and basically gave the Cavaliers a timeout, a chance to draw up that final play,
and they allowed clearly a shot clock had run out,
and they allowed Curry actually to be substituted out in that situation. And then, on top of that, was that a foul on Jefferson against Kevin Durant?
All right, let's start with the replay, because, last week, Michael, I was in the NBA Replay Center, and I was one-on-one with the replay director, Joe Borgia, for an hour. And we talked about the arbitrary timeout, and I peppered him with questions. But in terms of the arbitrary timeout, the way the league is going to look at this is we are going to make the arbitrary timeout's going to come up because we are going to make it fair for both sides. It doesn't matter to them that one team needed the timeout more than the other. Both teams get the timeout. Both coaches get to have that preparation. I even asked Borgia, how about gathering teams at midcourt so the coach can't talk to them? He said they'll get messages there somewhere. They'll wave signs. And he said that's going to be more embarrassing than the arbitrary timeout. So from that standpoint, this is how the league wants it. They feel like, hey, you know what? If we have to look at it and get it right, if both teams get the timeout, so be it. As far as the last play is concerned, I thought it was good, hard defense by Jefferson. And I like the fact that the referees swallowed their whistles. Did their feet get tangled up a little bit? They did, and Durant tripped, and it happens. And, of course, Durant thinks he got fouled. I don't think he got fouled. So you look at it in terms of how the league operates from an officiating standpoint. This is everything that they preach. They're going to go to replay to get calls right. They're not going to worry about arbitrary timeouts. And let's face it, would we have been happy if they called a foul on Jefferson in that spot for the legs getting tangled? I don't think it was a foul. I think Durant lost his balance. He fell down. He got tangled with Jefferson. I thought it was good, hard defense. Bottom line is this: I don't think the official decided that game. I think that the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors decided that game.